Well, I mean, a lot of times once you file a lawsuit, like, especially if you're like a smaller company and especially if you got a lawyer like yourself that it's like, because like a freight broker probably got like a whole expensive lawyer. So in order for them just to reply to it or do anything, it's going to cost them a bunch of money. Whereas if you're a smaller trucking company and you're using, like, say, for example, you're actually going to be paying pennies on a dollar compared to what they have to put in legal fees, right?
Correct. And that's because I'm not going to charge for everything. I don't charge for the emails, as I said before. I don't charge when my client calls me. Why would I do that? I used to be a client before too when I was in business and I had to call a lawyer. And I used to make a whole list what I used to say to a lawyer because I knew I had 15-minute billing. So I better get everything I got in 15 minutes. I don't want people to do that. If it takes you a half hour or 45 minutes to tell me your story, or if it takes 10 phone calls and 20 texts, I need to hear your story. So I'm not charging you for that. So we save a lot of money that way. We don't charge for everything. We just charge for the work we do against the company we're going after. We do not charge our own clients for talking about their cases, and nor should any lawyer, but that seems to be the practice in my industry. We've got a lot of bad companies in my industry too that they want to bill out. I'm not one of those people. I want to deal with good people and I want to make sound decisions and not bill people for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely vouch for that. You're definitely
Oh,
my top two favorite lawyers I ever had in my life. You and Joe Barbaro, my criminal lawyer when I was a kid. That guy
okay.
was
Well, I don't
amazing.
know, but I'm sure he's a good guy if you're saying he is.
Yeah, even like one time, I had court and I had no money, so I was like, man, I'm not gonna call him. I'm just gonna try to get a public defender. This guy just showed up to court and just seen my name on there and helped me out. So, like,
Wow.
there are, like in everything, there's always some good people and some bad people, and like you said, that's why a lot of people are scared to go to lawyers because like we just got dragged. Our situation in Washington, we just got dragged. That was probably like 70, 80,000 dollars. I'm like, oh my,
Oh yeah, because you got to go to a foreign state to do it, and
um,
yeah, like you said, they charge you a lot of money, but they don't have John Larson there.
yeah, too
So
bad.
yeah, I
We
would have loved to have been able to do Washington, but my law license doesn't go outside of Illinois unless it's a pro hoc vice situation. But that's a whole nother story.
So I see you're enjoying transportation a little bit, huh?
I actually do. You are the one that obviously turned me on to transportation when I first started working with your company, and after a while, I started loving it, and it's grown by leaps and bounds. The out of all the, I told you before, I had to hire another lawyer to
Yeah.
take on all these cases because there's so many of them, which is great. I love the business.
That's good. So hopefully it keeps on growing. I might be asking you for a job if my transportation stuff
Yeah, you got
don't
it.
don't work out over here, man. Because it's so bad. It's so bad in trucking right now. And then on top of it, dealing with all these brokers and carrier for one and highway, it's like, dude, they're not making it easy. It's gonna get to the point where it's just gonna be like they're gonna put so many people under. They're gonna screw themselves because
Right.
eventually they could push it to a certain point, but it's gonna get to the point where they're not gonna be able to cover their loads, and then they're gonna be paying up the butt for freight charges.
All right, just for the very reason you said, the small companies are going to go out of business. It's going to be the large companies taking over. The large companies are going to realize we're the only ones left, and they're going to start jacking up the prices because
Yeah,
they can.
and they won't be
Right
able to
now,
cover all
it's
of
the
it
small
either.
companies that keep everybody in check. So the brokers now need to realize that is don't be too hard on these companies. If there's a mistake, let somebody apologize and say, "Hey, I made a mistake," and let them go. Don't keep on posting freight cards against them because you are going to destroy a good company over a silly mistake.
Yeah, and they keep on saying so for fighting fraud, all that stuff. And the thing is, like, I don't know how deep you like actually got into the fraud that's happening in trucking, but all this fraud that's happening could actually be like prevented if people just like check people's actual emails. Like use like certain little steps, and that's gonna be the fraud that's prevented. The stuff they're doing with this highway and carrier for one, this is not helping fraud. This is actually just ruining good companies.
Right. They've got to learn to try to talk to people. I try to tell everybody, listen, there's no point in being mean to each other. Try to be nice to each other. Above all, be honest to each other. For my trucking clients, I tell them, be honest. Always be honest because people can deal with the honesty. So, hey, if you're going to be late in a call, just say, I'm sorry, I'm going to be late in a call, whatever the case is. I think that's always the best advice. But, if they get past that, I will definitely step in and take care of it.
Well, I mean, there's definitely should definitely be honest with your lawyer, even if you're at fault. Just be honest with
Oh,
your lawyer, and then he's going to find a way to try to help you the best he can with the situation he has.
yeah,
But
people should understand as a lawyer. I mean, I wouldn't tell anybody anyway, but I'm under an ethical obligation to not share your information. You could tell me where you buried the body. I can't tell anybody. Okay. That's between you and me. So people should know you could tell and you should tell your lawyer everything. If you're going to tell me a lie and I'm going to go defend you with that lie and then I'm getting caught for telling a lie, I'm no better than the person that told the lie. So you don't want that. You want me to have the full truth and let me fight them based on the truth. I don't turn anybody away that's telling me the truth.
yeah, because especially in situations like this, like like this carrier for one, like really hits deep, and I don't think I don't think they understand the actual severity of what kind of damage it causes a trucking company. You know what I mean? Like to them, it's just like, oh, whatever, I'm gonna put a report up. But if they actually like, like seen how much damage it causes, I would hope they would think twice about, posting some of these ridiculous reports on there.
Yeah, a lot of these reports, as you said earlier, these reports need to be investigated. There needs to be an investigative step for the for the companies that are transporting this stuff, and not just give brokers carte blanche to say whatever they want, because that's really unfair.
So what is exactly protecting Carrier 401 from somebody just doing a class action lawsuit and just wiping them out?
There's federal laws protecting them. Carrier 401 is there's like a company called ripoffreport.com for other people, for businesses. Certain businesses like Carrier 411 have a federal statute that stops people from filing lawsuits. And if they do file lawsuits, they'll just get dismissed. So if I do file a lawsuit against Courier or Highway, it will get dismissed. They're not the people that are doing the posting. They're the people that are accepting the post, much like Google. So if I write a bad report on somebody's company on google.com, they can't sue Google. Google did nothing wrong. All Google did was allow them to post it. And that's the where Carrier and highway.com are too, is they're allowed to post what somebody else told them to post.
Now there's no back door or anything like anywhere to like to pierce that or
No, there potentially could be. I have to look more into it. You just tell me a story about how a broker is basically willing to write a letter saying it's no good, take it down, and then Courier is keeping up. I have not looked into that yet, because I haven't had a client with that. You're telling me you have somebody, he might want to call me. I could research it more to see if there is something that where I could call Courier and say, hey, listen, guys, under this statute, it doesn't protect you if you leave it up once the broker tells you to take it down. Again, I don't know if that's right now, but I will look that up to find out if that is a kind of a back door to say, hey, you guys can't do this now, because now you're going beyond the federal statute that protects you.
and it doesn't matter that it's a paid service. For example, like Google's free to use. So if they're a paid service, that doesn't like
No, that doesn't change anything. No, unfortunately, it's when they create these federal laws, I don't think they realize these are regular Joes that ran for Congress or ran for Senate, and they make these laws, and we've just got to abide by them. So the best thing to do is try to work within the laws.
yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, man, because especially all these years, I personally think like if like a bunch of carriers got together and tried doing a lawsuit on Carrier for one, I think they would win. But I just think they're not like as united, because if you get like 100 trucking companies put up like $1,000 each and actually, get like a fund and then just start going
Yeah,
after
well,
them.
here's how that would work, Bobby. Is you'd have to kind of get the law changed a little bit, because the law is the law. Okay, I don't care if you give me $10 million, I can't change the law. If you give me $10 million and you tell me to go and work over Congress a little bit, that's a whole different story. That's what lobbyists do. Lobbyists are paid to get laws changed. So that's really where it needs to change. It's not going to change. You can hire 10 really, really, really great lawyers, and it's not going to change. It's not going to change until we get the law changed. And we can do that. But again, that would take, like you said, it would take a lot of trucking companies to all put into a pot, and that pot going to, someone that we can bring in, a lobbyist, and get that law changed. It doesn't even need a big change, just a little change. A couple words need to change, and it would fix everything.
A little side door just to get in there.
Yeah, because there's just something that it has to be truthful, or it has to something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, is there anything else what other stuff you're doing with transportation right now? Besides obviously fighting Darren every day?
That's it right now, is fighting, and I'm enjoying the fight.
Huh?
I like to fight. It's not that I'm a bad guy and like fighting. I like fighting for the good guy. I like fighting for the little guy, the guy that's starting up his company.